you.
Can they hear us now?
We're frozen.
BRB.
We're frozen?
We're frozen. Yeah.
Why?
No. Can they hear us now? No, we can hear them. Hello, folks.
Hello.
We're frozen. We're not frozen.
Okay.
There was nothing I changed. I just went back to it. I went to
Okay,
BRB.
I think everybody can hear us now. Yes?
Hey, you hear us?
Give me a yes.
See in
Okay.
here. Yeah.
Wow,
I don't even see any chat.
strong.
My chat isn't scrolling, so I'm doing it on my phone because it's not
there it
working
is.
for me tonight. Yeah.
Oh, we are echoing.
We're echoing?
Oh my gosh.
Are we?
No, I don't think we're echoing. I didn't hear any echoes when I was monitoring.
I don't know. Wayner says so. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
not the
we're not
boss of
echoing.
Wayner.
We're not echoing. We're not echoing. We're not echoing.
Okay.
I'm gonna do the intro over.
We're gonna start again.
Yay! Hello! Welcome to another edition of Strange New Pod. I am your Fleet Admiral and host, Julian Brown, alongside the best bridge crew this side of a Ferengi paywall. What you didn't hear is, man, fuck those paywalls. That's what we were complaining about while you guys couldn't hear us. Who's got Latinum these days, right, Hawk?
Nobody carries it. It's like change.
Not even Nick Locarno, and he's a pirate and doesn't carry Latinum. So that's just a weird look. But we are here. Commander Hawk, you are here. You are all ready to fluff your down, though you're not exactly wearing the most fluffy of jackets, but it'll do. Commander MC is also here, currently writing the press release apologizing for the name Nova Fleet because that's a turd bucket. And also, Captain Draft is here and wants to tell Locarno just how forgiving Romulans are. Did somebody write an intro for Eric? Because I printed this out already. You write an intro for Eric because I printed it out. You read it, MC.
Okay, and Vice Admiral Eric is here and wants to be the mistress of the winter constellations.
Yeah, I mean, of course I do.
As do we all. I want to be the mistress of the winter constellations. That's right. How we doing, guys? Besides technical difficulties, it's okay. It happens.
Waiting for season 5.
Yeah, I know. Everybody's been asking.
It's Dia de los Muertos here in San Diego, and we're celebrating in style. I actually just came from work. I was dressed like that at work.
You
And I
look
won-
wonderful.
I won the Katrina contest, and I may escape a bit early because if you know, there are big processions and big events in San Diego for big celebrations, and I'm gonna go to Old Town and drink some margaritas.
I really want to be there right now because I really want to go.
You should.
One time I'll come.
If anybody has ever the opportunity to be, I don't know, in San Diego, New Mexico, or Texas, like near the border during the 2nd of November, do it. It's a very beautiful time.
Yeah, indeed. Hawk, I think people, maybe I'm wrong, but are commenting on your screen grab, which is epic. I think MC was commenting on it earlier today too. It is just the perfect screen grab of Mariner yelling at the screen. It's fantastic.
This guy sucks. He's an idiot. He's going to get us all killed.
We are going to be hearing that a lot tonight, by the way. So what are we here for this week? It is the Lower Decks season 4 finale, which is all sorts of sad because if ever I've wanted a 20 episode season, this has been it. What happens when Mariner escapes Nick Locarno's Nova fleet aboard a Steamrunner class? We'll talk more about that too, because there's a cool reference in that Steamrunner class. What major decision does Tendi make when bartering with her sister to Erica? Who does Mariner put in command of the Cerritos? Or sorry, I put Mariner. Who does Carol put in command of the Cerritos during Mariner's rescue? How is Genesis involved, like the whole episode? We're going to break that all down right now, like we did last week. We have way too much to talk about. We're going to get right into it. It is our review of Old Friends, New Planets, the Lower Decks Season 4 finale. Our roundtable order tonight will go MC, Eric, Hawk, Giraffe, followed by myself. Let's go right into the cold open. By the way, YouTube Collective, it is already hopping in that chat tonight. I don't have you up on my screen because for some reason the auto scrolling isn't working. So I'll look
Mine's
down
not
at my phone.
scrolling either.
Yeah, it wasn't scrolling for me. It's scrolling on mobile. So
Yeah, same.
I've got it scrolling, so I'll try to catch people's
thank
comments.
you, MC. Keep your comments as always coming all night long. We want to hear from you. Nova Squad, the cold open of this episode, right? It begins with a flashback 13 years ago to Starfleet Academy. We have Nick, we have Josh, Wesley, and Cito. They're all talking about doing the Culver Starburst maneuver, and Josh is like, I don't know. And like Nick's talking about how Wesley's like, seen it all because he was on the Enterprise. And Wesley's like, I wasn't a nobody, because it's Wesley and it's Will Wheaton. It was great. Mariner comes along, right? And she's totally like nerding out with Cito about being at Starfleet Academy because this is like young, fresh Mariner. It's awesome to see. Just like a sweet moment, right? And when that's all done, right, the flashback all of a sudden just turns to Mariner aboard Nick's ugly ass ship that is not an NX-01 shuttle pod, so chalk up another one of me being wrong, but it still looks like one. So
it looks so much like it.
Right. Thank you, Hawk.
We were all wrong.
Yeah.
We were all wrong. That's true. We were all wrong. So Nick thinks that Mariner wants to come aboard, right? Showing off his independent fleet, Nova Fleet, worst name ever. Thoughts on the cold open, MC?
So, since we were wrong on so many things, I am going to take the small victory of me repeatedly saying young Mariner was like Boimler, because, oh my God, young Mariner was like Boimler. She was adorable. I loved seeing this version of Mariner, and I can see how this young, idealistic Mariner, going through everything she talked about the last episode, becomes the Mariner that we see in Lower Decks. It totally tracks. And just going to this flashback to basically during the first duty, I mean, this is so terrible. Like, I mean, last week I didn't suspect that Locarno was going to be behind it, even though they like name dropped him. And this week I didn't expect Will Wheaton to turn up, and I feel really dumb because as soon as they showed like the Academy, I'm like, oh my God, I think we lost Giraffe.
That's okay. I think she didn't freeze. She looked like she was getting busy, so she might be going. We'll figure it out, but keep going.
Okay. it made so much sense because with everything, like bringing Locarno and the whole backstory with Cito, you really needed to have that scene from the first duty that really established everything.
Kick me out.
You got kicked out?
I got deliberately kicked out. Eric, stop touching things. You have no sound.
I'm muted. I don't control the Zoom.
I'm not touching anything.
They were like, and I was like, oh, well, okay then. Okay, I'm back. What were you saying?
I am
Start back at the beginning.
I am talking about how great it is and how important it is that they actually had a flashback to the first duty to really remind people of exactly who Locarno is. Because the thing is, it's like we got the whole story about Cito, but for people who maybe only saw the first duty once or maybe weren't entirely familiar with it, you really need to see this to really know kind of what's going on. And then once you finally get into the present day stuff with them, they made a brilliant move having Mariner go, it's like, I hardly knew you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's always that thing where you meet somebody that you were like in high school with and they have like a much stronger memory of you. And it is clear like, I mean, let's face it, Locarno is like a star football player who got a DUI and lost his scholarship. And so he's living his glory days over and over and over again. So he still thinks of himself as the big man on campus and Mariner as somebody who is in total awe of him because he's completely oblivious to the fact that she had only had eyes for Cito. She didn't care about the rest of Nova Squad. And so, yeah, he's trying to convince her. It's like, oh, we'll, the two of us against the world. But that's not who Mariner is. He thinks that everybody is going to have the same view as him because he's like a complete narcissist who thinks he's right. And there's no reason why anybody would disagree with him. And this is something we saw in the first duty, and he hasn't grown at all since.
Yeah, and Matt Harker wrote to go exactly along with what you're saying, right? The whole junior member thing means that Locarno never left his hometown or graduated high school. Like one of those dudes, right? For sure. Yeah.
Still wears his Letterman jacket.
Yeah, still.
I mean,
he probably has
exactly.
a Starfleet Academy letter. Yeah, exactly. Right. Eric.
Yeah, he's wearing that Letterman jacket while mowing lawns now. That's what he does.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm so glad you said that because that's exactly what I thought. Like whenever I go home and I see all those people who are like, oh, hey, remember blah, blah. It's like, no, I don't remember that. No, I don't. I'm pretty sure I wasn't friends with any of you guys. But yeah, I did move out of my hometown. I love that. It looked like Mariner was not the same year as them, but like a younger person. And Cito was like taking her under her wings. And she sort of did the same thing with Boimler because, they kept on. They're those keeners that keep on wanting the next generation to, grow their love.
Next generation.
Yeah. And I love that Wesley, like we were so sure that he was in on it the whole time, but it felt like he was unsure of it the whole time. And until, what's his name? Locarno was like, pressuring him in and being like, Picard would be down with this. And, that's when he started sort of changing his mind and being open to it. Other than that, yeah, Baby Mariner was everything. It was just everything. I loved it. I loved how similar she is to Boimler and how excited she was for stuff that she didn't even know about, but she was excited to learn about it. Like that's awesome. That's what you want from the newbies in Starfleet, right?
Yeah.
What else is there? Nova Fleet. Why that name? Right? And it was weird. Like we saw Nova Fleet. I would have liked to see more of the different ships. Like we saw a little bit, but we didn't really see all of the like what happened to the Klingons? Were they even there at that?
Well,
happened to
remember
the
that they
Klingon?
mutinied and they took
They
over
did
the
take-
bird of prey.
But we never saw them again. Which
I
also
know. I was
too.
a little disappointed
thinking
about
that,
that,
yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I would
good.
like to see Ba'a again.
That was a beautiful cold open. Probably one of my favorite of Lower Decks.
Yeah. In the chat, people are talking about Mariner, right, being a first year. Maybe she's a second year. Yes, MC did the math last week, and
Yeah.
Mariner is in Lower Decks in her early mid 30s.
Yeah, and I think Cito in this actually said that that Mariner was first year.
Yeah,
She's like,
that's
I
right.
was excited when I was
a first year. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. So, who's up?
Also, Matt Prop's getting
sorry.
the Cito actress back because she hasn't acted in years.
She
So that's
she
awesome.
stopped acting like very soon after she played Cito. She didn't have a lot of roles. So, Huck.
Yeah, everybody's pretty much said like everything on this. But yeah,
I have
this
more
was
stuff to do to say.
Of course. But yeah, one thing is true. This was an absolutely necessary cold open. I was totally surprised when I saw it, the flashback 13 years back to like the first duty, just before the first duty was happening. But it's so important in establishing Nick Locarno, as you know, because it's like he was an easy character to forget. So maybe if you hadn't caught up on the first duty in that before this episode, this was a great way of reintroducing him as that manipulative, like jock guy, and that who everybody loved at the high school, as you said. But you know, one DUI later, and one dead cadet classman later, he's still living in the past. That you mentioned Letterman jacket. Well, Nova Squadron,
Yeah.
simple.
Well, right. He's where the whole thing is the damn logo that got their friend killed. Like, what a douchebag.
I know. And then, you know, having Will Wheaton show up for it, you know, even though he only got the one line, I would have liked a couple little more lines from
But
him.
it was the perfect line.
It was
It
perfect.
was. It's like, I wasn't nobody. And the fact that he's like, Josh, are you okay with this? You know, it just reestablished all the fine points of that episode. You know, Josh Albert wasn't, you know, probably wasn't really like, you know, into it, but didn't want to let the squad down. Wes, like, you know, already having reservations, but Locarno being a manipulative prick, and that, you know, Picard will be proud of you for doing this.
Yeah.
I love this cold open, and then just like the perfect transition to the present, and that and Mariner. It's like, I didn't even know you back then.
Yeah.
Great.
Nice. Giraffe?
Yeah, so I wanted to like jump on what I've half heard because I got kicked out from MC. I don't think Locarno like chooses Mariner because he thinks like everybody, you know, is so full of himself. Mariner is the only one left. Cito is dead. Wesley's gone. Josh is dead, and everybody else from his class is now a commander or a lieutenant, and they're not gonna like follow his like dumb idea of like lower decker. She's literally the only person that he knows from the academy that is still a lieutenant junior grade and even like an ensign kinda. So I think that he's choosing Mariner is very grasping at straws. That's what you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's nobody else. The Nova Squadron is all gone. Everybody, think about it. This is whack, okay? And all his class most probably is like in good position or not in Starfleet anymore. So I think he chooses her because she is the only thing that makes him kind of right. Like,
Well, I think actually, like, there's no reason why both of us can't be right on it, because, like, that's like the practical reason. But his like internal logic of like, oh, it's destiny. Like, you are supposed to be here. Like, this is exactly what's supposed to happen for my, you know, basically to glorify me. So I can see it like both being his ego and out of necessity, because you are absolutely right on everything you said.
Well, it's
I think basically he thinks he can pull Mariner to his side in that because of their common bond with the tragedy of Cito and that, you know, but he doesn't realize that they see it completely differently.
Yeah. It's also what Boothby says to Jean-Luc in the First Duty, right? Like, this is what he does. He's a pleaser. He's a manipulator. He will twist your words to make you feel good. So immediately he's like, "Oh yeah, Mariner, like, you're the perfect person to be here for this. Like, oh, we're gonna show Starfleet." Because that's how he got them to do the Culvert Starboard. That's how they got all of them to lie on the stand during their inquiry, right? Like, he just can manipulate what you say and manipulate. He even manipulates, like when he says in the First Duty, "Nothing I said up there was a lie," even though it's complete bullshit. And he starts saying, to looking them all in the eye, and it's like, "This is what I said. This is what I said. Isn't that right, Cito? Isn't that right?" Whoever the other girl wasn't in there, I forget her name.
Gaslighting.
Yeah, exactly. So
I don't know. Okay, so the character of Nick Locarno, especially with this, first of all, that guy is very smart. He's very able, he's very capable, and he's very smart. And he's a sweet talker. Like, the only thing that separates him from Kirk, for example, is that he fucking failed that maneuver and that kid died. If that hadn't happened, he would have been on the highest ranking place in Starfleet, kirking his way through the rank. Let's be honest about this. And that guy, like, we make him a villain, but like, he fucked up. And it's like a little bit like when people like say that Michael Burnham, she's wrong when she does like the same thing that a lot of like characters do. The only difference is that Locarno fucked up. If he hadn't fucked up, he would have been held in hero. He's right about this. And I do think that he's trying to grab Mariner because he wants that to be absolutely, completely right. And Mariner is the only thing that gives him this opening in Starfleet because he wants to get revenge, but also he wants to be comforted in his own opinion. It's like when very smart people like explain to you that the Earth is flat and they're trying to pull you in their bullshit because if you believe the same thing, if you agree with them, then they're not wrong. Locarno knows that he's fucking up, but he's trying to make it right. And that makes him like so much more interesting than just being like a plain old like basic villain, egocentric and maniacal. Like, we've had so many of these villains. I like the fact that they chose Locarno because that guy is not simple, and you can read it in more complicated ways than just being, full of himself, which he is. But they all are. They all are full of themselves.
Yeah.
Every single one of them.
But what's so frightening about him is that, like, imagine like if everything had worked out, the Colbert maneuver like earned him glory in that. He advanced in the ranks of Starfleet in that. I mean, MC nailed it when she called him a narcissist in that because early on, that he's not somebody who's going to look out for his team. Even though I know he took the blame at the end, but at the same time, manipulating them into doing that, even though Josh was weak on the maneuvers.
And remember, he only took the blame in the end because Wesley stood up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And also, we're forgetting a very vital thing. The maneuver was illegal. Like, they weren't supposed to be doing it. And obviously there was a reason they weren't supposed to be doing it. But Locarno convinced himself that he knew better than everyone. And he ends up blaming, the Academy for not letting them practice it as to why it failed. So even now, 13 years after it happened, he's still passing the buck on. So he, can't find himself to be complicit in anything.
And if he was a stand-up guy, he would have come forward immediately. That's why I don't think that Nick is a good guy, and he maybe would have been hailed a hero. I think he would have gotten in trouble later on too. Like, if he was a true leader, if he was really like a Nova Squad leader, right? He'd be like, "This is what happened. We screwed up. We're sorry." And maybe he doesn't actually get expelled. Maybe they all skip a year like the rest of them, right? But instead, he decides for a cover-up, which is not exactly, I think, like a good character trait. But
the First Duty is the truth.
Yes, that one. Thank you, MC.
Personal truth, historical truth.
Anything else on the cold open?
Yeah, he managed to pull the Romulans when the Federation failed. So Team Locarno, but
Yeah, there you go. We're gonna for the rest of the review, we're gonna go by character because everybody had something. Almost everybody had a really important part in this episode. So we're gonna start obviously with our girl Mariner.
This guy sucks! What?
So we have a lot to get to, a lot to say here. So I'm going to try and get through this as fast as possible, right? Mariner plays along for a little bit, right? And then Nick gets all Dr. Evil in his Dr. Evil chair with his Genesis device, sends out a message on all subspace frequencies. Nick and all the lower deckers and their first independent fleet is not going to answer to any more flawed leadership, right? Though, as Boimler said, the Maquis would like to have a word, please. Says if anybody gets in his way, he has a Ferengi Genesis device as leverage. And he's like, hey, I have a lower decker here who hates the system too. Why don't you speak? And she's like, no, this guy fucking sucks. And then steals Genesis. This whole episode is Wrath of Khan. Escapes on a Steamrunner class vessel, which I'm going to talk about right now. The USS Pissarro, NCC 52670, which is named after Star Trek digital artist Fabio Pissarro, who passed away last year, unfortunately. He did some really cool work on Reliant ships. He did the 4D Borg experience at Star Trek Las Vegas when that was still open. So he was a really good dude. I'm making sure I have my page here still. And then, she steals that ship using her mom's command code, which I thought was really clever. What do we think about Nick's big moment and Mariner's be like, no, fuck you, dude. You don't get your big moment. Let's go, MC.
It's the perfect way to cap off Mariner's plot season because Nick has read Mariner's file. And he is going off of what he thinks Mariner is going to be. Though what I think that he was always wrong, because I think even after going through all of this, Mariner never would have taken Locarno's side in seasons 1, 2, 3. Like she always would have, because deep down, Mariner has always been like a hardcore Starfleet, proud. And so she always was going to think that he sucks. The way she went about it, though, is I think what the difference is. Because she does do things in what I would say is the best way she can handle things. Because, at first she's kind of playing along with him. That's the thing that I don't think Mariner would have done in the earlier seasons. She wouldn't have played along with him. And by not doing that, she is able to kind of communicate with the rest of the fleet. And most importantly, get the Genesis device, which somebody, and I don't remember who, it might have been you, Julian, somebody called out the Genesis device back in that episode. And it's like, this seems like it could be important.
Yeah. It was just a random thing to throw in there, right?
Yeah. We've got to call out all of the things we got right because there were not many.
Jim, why are you stealing Genesis? Genesis? Who's stealing Genesis? Carol, I can't make you out. Who's stealing Genesis? Sorry, I'm done.
It's okay. And yeah, the whole speech from Locarno was great because it was very much like exactly what you would expect from someone trying to, he's almost trying to do things like he's in a movie. It's like, because he's, how do I look? And she's like, you look insane.
Confident in a creepy way.
Yeah. And he's like, good. So he's almost, kind of like then let me be the villain. And like, but also in the same way of like the best villains think that they're the heroes. Like that's kind of who Locarno thinks he is. And also the Maquis reference was perfect because since there's the Locarno Paris connection, like that's just what, obviously I was thinking about Paris anyways because of something that, comes up later. But the Maquis will like a word with you and it's like, oh, do you know who was in the Maquis? Tom Paris.
That's right. Nice. Eric.
I love this the section of Mariner, trying to dupe Locarno, it really made me wonder how she would have gone about things if she didn't come to that catharsis last episode, right? Would she have tried to burn that ship down as she left, or what? Like without her own, well-being in there. Like, it's such a cool way to see her evolve, just even from last episode to this one. But yeah, whatever. Everything that MC said was spot on. His speech was so good, and it is one of those people who are it really reminded me of those people that really clung on to the Jared Leto Joker, we live in a society, that meme. That's what energy he was giving off, and I was like, oh my god,
wow,
it's all nice. We don't care about authority. We're our own authority, and we have this own section. And yeah, it was great. It was, oh man. Other than that, I don't know what else I can add from MC. You really got everything there. The everything that Bradward and Rutherford were saying about Tom Paris and Locarno was I was dying. I was in stitches. Their delivery was just perfect, and the dry humor from Eugene Cordero.
They've got the same face.
It's identical.
No, don't see it.
Perfect. Yeah.
So good. Colin also kind of put it perfectly in the chat. Mariner, she set herself free last episode. She really did, letting it out to Ma'a. So yeah. Huck.
Okay, so the first time I'm watching this scene, I was reminded of two different episodes. And that the one where Geordi was taken by the Packlids and held hostage. Second was Deanna, face of the enemy, and that it's a member of your crew is on an enemy ship, and it's that playing along thing. I did not see that coming. With her, it's just not even capable of playing along. She just this guy's an idiot. He's going to get everybody killed. Fuck him. Doing that kick, grabbing Genesis, taking off. I realize it's okay, I'm never going to criticize Mariner again on her on any of her actions and that, because she just, they might be spur of the moment in that, but that's the difference between her and Nick, and that every time she does one of these crazy things and that, she's always looking out for the welfare of other people. So, and she's extraordinarily good at it. We got to give the devil her due in that. She, when she goes off on a wild tangent and that, it usually works out for the best.
Well, it's such the perfect moment because I'm looking at your background. Locarno doesn't look mad. He looks absolutely horrified. He's embarrassed because she's totally got his number.
He uses though. That's the word he uses. You just embarrassed me in front of the entire quadrant, right?
This was his coming. This was the debutante at the ball, his big coming out party, and that it's he was making himself known as some sort of a new force in the universe, and this new idea. He thought people were, crews and ships were going to flock to his free navy. Yes, I'm using the Expanse term. And what does she do? In 2 seconds, she just threw all his dreams into the garbage chute. Loved it.
Nice. Giraffe?
I like how unhinged and most probably against every single training she got it is. Instead of playing along and trying to know how many ships there are, what their security protocol, I don't know, you're in a stage situation, right? We saw it in Strange New World. You make up something that the other people know that, you're not okay, right? But you give us you give yourself some time, especially because Locarno trusts her, which is wild. I mean, on paper, I see why, because she's the perpetual ensign, right? She hates everything about she acts like that. So for him, she's a safe bet as much as all the other crew were a safe bet. But Wildcard Charlie for the people who watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So you never know what the fuck she's gonna do. And
Wildcard.
I like that her mother is "Atta girl."
Yes.
They're
You
not
know-
even like, okay, so basically you just run with a giant bomb. She didn't even know that there was like a shield. Like she knows shit nothing. She's just like going straight down, like barreling, which is good. She has the element of surprise, but it's like so fucking insane. Like there were so many other ways to go around this situation that could make sense. I like the fact that you see that Locarno is actually like he knows that if that dominoes doesn't fall, he's fucked. Like that's why he's panicking because again, I don't think he's dumb. He's like very smart. Like that guy got Ferengis and Romulans and Binars, I mean Trinars, to work together, and it's kind of a feat that Starfleet never managed. And I saw it also as a good commentary on what's going on in the politics. Let's talk politics. But people were just rallying everybody that's just unhappy and they don't know why they're unhappy. I'm unhappy because I'm not the captain, and I'm unhappy because I don't have my own ship. Well, come here, you'll have everything. And then it gets only one person to shout, that is fucking insane. It's gonna get you all killed. She's lucky that it kind of works at the end, but it doesn't work in the beginning. She still gets chased and almost killed several times. But yeah, I like that even in the end, Mariner doesn't follow fucking Starfleet protocols.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think someone said it earlier too. Like, while he is smart and he got those people together, you're right. Like, that was his wild card, right? Like the Mariner. And if that domino didn't fall, then he was fucked, like you said. And it's interesting. Maybe it was Colin. I'm not sure. You can tell me in the chat if I'm wrong. Said it's amazing how quickly his little fleet just fell apart the minute that he got anxious, right? Because then he started kind of being who he is. He was giving orders. Like, it wasn't a free fleet, right? Like his true colors came out. So it very quickly all crumbled because of what Mariner did. So
because also like a group that is together just because they're unhappy is not
right.
united, so it
Right.
doesn't work.
Right.
The thing is, again, like Mariner, for him, Mariner was a safe bet. There was no reason she would do something like this.
Yeah. I also really love my favorite part about this is that she had Carol's command code. Like, she's had it forever, and we've never heard her use it until right now. Like, she could have created so much chaos and like done so many more pranks, but like, this was like the perfect time to use her command code. And
He was not very sure of that number. So let's be honest. She was
well, it's like when I asked my daughter, "Do you remember Daddy's phone number?" She's like, "I think so," and she gets to it, but it takes a minute. Yeah, I love that, and she definitely went to the Will Riker
I'm
school.
sorry, it's smelling like burning, so I'm gonna check that my house is not burning.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
That's fair.
Yeah, no, I love that she went to the Will Riker School of Flying Stick. So
Yeah. Giraffe,
that made my day.
mentioned, why she didn't play much longer. I am wondering if it's the black market Genesis device that kind of set Mariner off.
Like that thing is literally a ticking time bomb, even if it's not armed. Like, you don't want that around unstable people.
Also,
Period.
she wasn't really playing along. Like, I don't understand how Nick Locarno didn't notice her being like,
No, yeah,
oh, yeah, this is
yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Because he's all up in his own
like, yeah,
head.
Yeah.
Oh.
Let's talk about Mariner at the end, right? Her season arc ends saying that she just like was going through some deep emotional trauma, like, during these past few months, and she's gonna try really hard not to self-sabotage anymore. I think, as we've been saying, and it was said in the chat already, like, she set herself free, and I think this is a huge turning point for her. Final thoughts on kind of the conclusion of Mariner's arc this season, MC?
Well, I mean, we see when, like, even though she does, grab Genesis and run off, in the whole final confrontation with Locarno, she's actually trying to, like, save things, because, like, her whole idea was, I'm going to, get this Genesis device, set it off on a,
Lifeless planet.
A lifeless planet, and I fully expect that she was going to try to get away. Like, this was not a suicide mission to her, she only kind of started to make it a suicide mission when it seemed like there was no other, no other option. But through the whole time when she's talking with Locarno, she's trying to talk him down. She's trying to get them both to safety, and like that's kind of the difference. That's not what she would have done last week before she dealt with all of her issues with Cedo. She would have taken both of them out in a blaze of glory. And that's the thing that separates her from Locarno. Locarno, wants that blaze of glory. And I mean, of course, he thinks he's smarter than a bomb. But he doesn't know how to deal with Ferengi bombs.
Mariner would have had that latinum.
She would have, totally. And when Mariner finally talks to the other lower deckers and kind of admits to what's been going on with her, this is like the first time we've really seen Mariner just kind of be like super vulnerable and honest just about, I am going through shit. And just kind of the perfect moment to me was Tendi saying, you don't have the apology not accepted because you don't need to apologize for going through something. It's such a beautiful, their friendship is unconditional. And this is a great sign of how it is unconditional. And I just love them so much.
Yeah. Nice. Eric?
What I loved is that during this whole cat and mouse chase through the asteroids and everything, and the chase before then, Mariner was constantly trying to get the other ships to just be like, you know what, you're doing the wrong thing. Like, you should, join me. Like last week when she said, I'm tired of fighting. She wants to do the Starfleet way. And she did it in this episode. It was so awesome to see her like fully embrace that Starfleet mentality, like fully embrace it. And then like MC said, like her trying to talk down Locarno was awesome. Like, she just wanted him to come to terms with what he's been doing and like just be the Tom Paris that we know he could be. And then when everything was all said and done, she was fully willing to sacrifice herself for everyone. Like, I thought that was amazing. She would have done that before then, but I feel like she would have done it way earlier instead of like last week. The ending scene, I don't think I can say anything better than what MC said. Like, that friendship is just perfect. It's probably my favorite dynamic in Star Trek. Like these five. My bad. Yeah, my bad. Five. Yeah. We'll talk about T'Lyn later, but yeah, I just they're amazing. And like MC said, what Tendi said to Mariner was just the perfect thing, just the perfect way to support your friend who's been going through stuff.
Yeah. David Ellison chat wrote, I could see Mariner casually saying, I always carry Latinum with me. Never know when you might need to bribe a bomb. Sorry, what? It's true. She probably does. Yeah. Hawk.
Yeah, I'm glad she kind of came to that resolution. I don't think it's going to change the basis of her as a character. I think she's still going to be, she'll still do crazy things going forward. But it won't be self-sabotaging this time. And she's not, I don't think she'll be afraid of advancement at this point, or, having to take on more, role as a leader in Starfleet, hopefully. Because she also comes to a realization about Starfleet and that, based on Locarno, her interaction with Locarno and them, it's like, yeah, they screw up. Yeah, they're, they mess up all the time, but they're still always trying to do the right thing. Yeah. Which I think is perfect. It was a great resolution for her character in that, and it's like I'm glad they put the work in this season with her in that, to show her like self-sabotaging and us getting frustrated with it, and that then dropping that big emotional bomb on us last episode, and now this, Mariner was really a highlight this season.
Yeah, agreed. No, she really this was. I feel like every season's Mariner season, right? But like this was really Mariner's, and I feel like Tendi season too. We're gonna talk more about that later. But yeah, I feel like that a lot, Hog. Giraffe.
Yeah, I just absolutely forgot what I was gonna say. Okay, first thing, until it comes back. First thing, let's be honest. Today, I don't use money. I don't have cash. I don't even have my card because I pay everything with my phone. You tell me that in the future, Ferengis will accept only cash? No, they will accept any form of payment, even a video of you saying that you owe them with interest.
That's actually a great point.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
When they were like, oh no, only cash, because like when people do that right now, I'm like, oh, you don't want my money, then
Yeah.
go away. Like that was the only point I was like, the Ferengi bomb would take any form of payment. Come on, like just enter your PIN or like scan your thumb, and you're like, they will hook you up with like interest, forever. So that's the only thing.
That countdown would have started at 10, be like, it's 2, and then it's 4, and then it's 6.
The API is just like going higher and higher like every time you wait. That is true, right?
Yeah, they need to update the Ferengi economics from where it was in the 90s.
Right?
Listen,
come on.
Rom's getting to it, all right? He's got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
There's other form of payment. And you know that also any Starfleet people like dealing with Ferengis, like, the whole like, I don't know what money is. Like, that's very boring, but Locarno would know how to do that. Come on. He's literally dealing with Ferengis. You think he didn't pay this guy? Come on. So anyway,
where did he get all of the equipment? Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
right.
I was like, but anyway, that was fun. I was happy that she could not talk them down, because I've noticed something, and I know that everybody has noticed that when dumb people do dumb shit, trying to reason with them in logical ways does not work. These guys have gone too far. They're not gonna back up. The only way they're gonna back up is when they see that there's no interest and no profit anymore for them, and that's when they're gonna go. But all these people are fucked right now. Like, what are they gonna do? Where are they gonna go? Like these Romulans, they can never show their face anywhere anymore.
No, they probably already have bounties out on their heads, like full on Putin style. Like their ship's gonna randomly explode at some point.
Yeah, it's like, natural cause of death.
Natural.
I was happy that she could not. That Locarno was like doubling down. Like that was his life work. You can't undo such a disappointment, a hatred, a bitterness, and like it's a self-prophecy,
self-fulfilling prophecy.
Self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, they're trying to take me down. They hate me. Oh, look, they're taking me down. Like, for sure, that guy was going to try to play the smarter one until the end. That's the only reason he exists. And yeah, I was happy that I wasn't happy that he died, but I was happy that he didn't go, oh, I see the errors of my way.
Right. No, he was who he was up until his death, and that's
the whole thing is he was complaining. He's like, I could have been the greatest pilot ever, and it's like, you still could have been a great pilot. Like,
I graduated top of my class.
Starfleet's not the only place that you could be a pilot. Like, we have Cassidy Yates, who is a civilian pilot. Like, there, or I guess she's a captain, but there is somewhere a civilian pilot on her ship. So there's other places you could be a pilot, but he's just stuck in the Starfleet mentality of this is what my destiny is.
Yeah.
Well, and I like that in the cold open to go back because I forgot about that. But like Mariner is saying that she's studying Xeno history. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting that it's like the only thing she said she studied, and then when she leaves Starfleet, that's what she does. She goes into archaeology. So yeah, there's it's very easy to get employed once you're out of Starfleet with these things on your resume. So yeah.
Yeah. I want to go back to what MC was saying, because that's what I really noticed is if you go all the way to the end of the episode and the Admiral's like, well, because shots weren't fired, like we don't have any incidents, like we don't have any issues. And that's what I loved about this. Like Mariner didn't fire a single shot at anybody except the stupid Tricon shield thing that she said had a stupid name. I love that. Like when the Ferengis came out, she's like, I'm going to quote the rules of acquisition to you. It didn't work, but I'm still going to do it. When the Romulans come up, she's like, oh, you fucking Romulans. Also, like, why aren't you scheming to take over the Empire? You're failing at like your sole purpose in life. I like that it's true though when you know it. Like she played
Oh,
to
I
all
remember
their
what I was gonna say.
Okay.
All these hours on the holodeck paid trying to escape
right, the Cardassian prison.
prisons.
Yeah, 100%. No, and I just really love that. Like Mariner a season ago, even half a season ago, would be like guns blazing, disabling those ships with photon torpedo. Like the funniest thing about the ship that she stole is that it's a warship. Like the Steamrunner class was built to fight the Borg, and it fires phasers in peaceful terms only to like try and break a shield, like never at other ships. What does she do to disable a ship? She lets loose the coolant and just blinds them, right? Like I thought that was really neat, and I love that that's kind of like how her arc ends the season, that she's like found the type of zen that Mariner needs, right? Because like I think Jurassic, right, like she's still gonna do crazy shit, right? But like she's still Mariner, and Zen Mariner can still have fun and do crazy shit, and I like this. I like this a lot.
She did throw away her shot, though.
She did throw away her shot. Oh God!
Oh, go stand in the corner and think about what you did.
Get off my bridge.
Oh boy. Anything else on Mariner before we move on? Good.
I really wish that Ma'a was there at the end for her.
I do too.
Yeah.
I really wanted to see Ma'at again. I was a little disappointed in that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that was, I think, the only like loose thread, because like it was such a big deal in the last episode, and then just all of a sudden, just he's fucking gone.
yeah, he took his bird of prey back and fucked off.
Yeah, he dropped them off somewhere. Yeah, it was fine.
Yep. It is time. Everybody has waited very patiently. We are going to do the Yosemite shuttle giveaway. Your entries have been added. Your stacks have been stacked. I've never seen a wheel so thin.
Ooh.
But there she is. That's with all your names in there multiple times in a fair manner, not just all clumped together. But here we go. Who's going to win the Yosemite shuttle? We're doing it live. It is spinning.
I'm so excited I could just spit.
See anything?
Congratulations, Matt Harker. You win the Yosemite shuttle.
Congratulations, Matt.
Congratulations, Matt. Big congrats. And congrats to all those who listen, y'all wanted to win that damn thing. You got your stacks in there every single week. That's commitment. I appreciate it. And also congrats to Ernesto, our second prize winner. Your package actually went out today. So congrats, guys. Yay. Let's move on to acting captain Bradward Boimler. That's right.
I'm gonna have to start over with a new therapist, aren't I?
Oh, yes, he is. I don't know if Miglamoo's getting up from that. We'll find out next season. Listen, this episode isn't about Brad Boimler, right? Like, this actually really hasn't been a Brad Boimler-y season. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing, but like, this is a multiple season spanning payoff for Boims, right? With the Orion battleship being nothing more, it's a battering ram. Like, that's all it is. It could do nothing but get tractored and thrown. Carol and the crew come up with a plan that sees her sneaking away on the captain's yacht, a la Jean-Luc in Star Trek Insurrection, the one that we don't talk about. I guess Nemesis people don't talk about that one either. Really,
I mean, you remember last time we watched, we did a watch along of Insurrection.
Yeah. So she's in the captain's yacht, and then Boimler is left in command of the Cerritos as acting captain. And the dude does not flinch. Not once. Not fucking once. Even when the admiral comes on, he's like, "Who are you?" He's like, "Oh, sorry, sir." No, he's like, "I'm acting captain Brad Boimler. What do you want, sir?" And I loved that. Brad Boimler is in his captain era. What did we think about Captain Boims, MC?
Oh my god! I was just, I'm speechless from it. Like, I was, again, not expecting it, but when I saw it, I was like the Grinch. My heart grew 3 sizes, because this is the perfect thing to happen to Boimler. Like you said, this has not really been a season about him. He has had some things, and a lot of the stuff he's had has been about his insecurities. You know, the first thing that happened this season is that he didn't think that he deserve a promotion. He was trying to sabotage himself to not get a promotion because he didn't think he was good enough for it. And everything along the way has been him kind of tripping over himself. Like it's him, having problems on the ship, like, getting into his quarters. So it's all been him like dealing with these growing pains. And now he's just had a growth spurt. Now he's acting captain, and the way, like you said, he didn't flinch. Like we have never seen, like maybe there was like a tiny bit of this in the episode with the red shirts, when he's supposed to give his inspirational speech. And he does have that moment where he's like very strong and acting captain-y. And he's able to bring that energy here when it actually matters, when, he has to do important things. And yeah, he is in front of a fucking admiral. And he's just like, I am acting Captain Boimler. And I'm so here for it.
Yeah. Joe wrote in the chat, Admiral Funnest Frontier. He hung up on the Admiral. It was great. Yes, he did. It was fantastic. Eric.
See what happens when you die in a volcano, right? Like you become a badass captain.
All you need to do is die once in Star Trek, and then you're captain.
He just had to hear that koala voice, and he's just right at the top. I loved how awesome the scene was, or how awesome his evolution was. It really reminded me of Dewey's evolution in The Boys as well. Or the best thing I can say, and this scene, like him being captain, really reminded me. It gave me the same feels as when John Cho as Sulu took the captain seat in Into Darkness and was like, and was talking to John Harrison. I was like, if you test me, you will fail. And I was sitting there, I was like, fuck yes.
One of the hottest scenes in that movie.
Yeah, it is the hottest scene in that movie. God, like it just gave me so much, it's so much joy seeing Boyms there. And I cannot wait to see him get promoted in the further seasons, because he's just coming into like his character, and it's just so awesome.
Captain Boimler spinoff when, please?
Yeah,
I will
100%.
watch that.
Oh my god, live action with
oh my god,
yes.
Jack Quaid. Yes,
just give it
here.
3.
Yeah,
Captain Bucephalus.
Is it, yeah. Dagger.
All the feels, like everything everybody said in that. Like, yeah, he was a little bit pushed to the background this season, which is fine, but like he's already been through so much in that. I mean, like, the Strange New Worlds episode alone in that must have been a huge growth spurt for him. I loved how he, not only he was really good in the role in that, but he also did the whole great lean forward in that.
He had the captain voice too, like he did, and he just
The lean.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I swear, I still, when the ship, took the battle cruiser into the shield and that, and all the systems started to fry from the backlit, I still heard a Boimler scream.
Oh no, we still totally had one. Yeah.
So it's like Mariner. It's like as much as Boimler changed in that, he will still be the same, and I love it.
Nice. Giraffe.
I think, there's a lot of people asking like, oh, why Boimler? There's no commander, there's no lieutenant. Well, there are, but who's gonna act the shit out of that captain seat because he wants to save Mariner? Boimler.
Thank you. Yes. Yes.
He is motivated as fuck. He's not gonna question things. He's gonna do things. And I like the fact that Boimler has not prepped his whole life to be a lieutenant or like to go on a away mission with a bunch of red shirts. He has role played captain for so long. He has role played being in that chair. He has, inhabited the role so often that when he gets into that chair in that moment of crisis, it comes like Bucephalus dagger comes like right out. It's the same lean, same thing. Yeah, he didn't like, he was panicking with the volcano and the red shirt because that's not what he was practicing every day on the holodeck, you know? And it's like when you do emergency drill, you do over and over again the things that you need to be doing. And that's what he's been doing. And it was very good to see basically the same, you know, same intonation and the same like lean than in Crisis Point, because it pays. He prepped, he rehearsed, he learned, he ran all these scenarios over and over and over again. And when Mariners and Freeman needs him, he shows up. And I think that Carol Freeman knew that. That's why she chose him, because she knew that he was going to show up and not only be following order and not only being like, yes, ma'am, what now, ma'am, you know, but like being acting captain. So I'm proud of our boy. Let's go. I'm happy that somebody gave him his chance.
Yep.
Because sometimes that's all you need.
Yeah, you stole everything that I was going to say. This is my favorite part of the entire episode, is Boymes getting his moment, right? Like, this is what he's wanted all his life, and he didn't throw away his shot. He took it and he excelled at it, right? And we've seen this from Carol for 2 episodes now. Who did she go to like trust with her daughter? Her best friends, right? So of course you're going to put the guy who his dream in life is to be a captain in the captaincy. You're right, Draft. Like, he's never gonna fuck that up. But like, man, he just does it so well. And like, is the dude probably ready to be a captain right now? No. Like, this was a very special circumstance, but like, could he do it again? Like, could he do like bridge night duty? Like, could he be putting up? Yeah. Like, I think we're leading up to that. And I really hope that we don't take a step back from this next season. Like, I want to see Boimler's continued evolution into the officer that he wants to be. And I know that Mike McMahon wants to do that from talking with him. Like, Brad Boimler's backstory isn't interesting. Brad Boimler's story moving forward is his story to be the Starfleet officer that he always wanted to be. So I hope that's what we continue to get next season. I love it.
If I ever get into the writer's room, I'm going to fight with him about Boimler's backstory not being interesting. And I am going to get into that writer's room.
Fair. I'm gonna call out two dear friends in the chat right now, Tara and Matt. Can you please stop texting our group text? I'm getting every single one, and it's very distracting.
There's a group text?
Yeah, we have a little group text.
Ah, okay.
Just the 3 of us. It's okay. Stop doing it. I'm trying to do the show. Thank you. Yes. Where was I? See, distracting. So I loved it, and I really hope that we get more of it.
Don't you think that I mean, like, Jim Kirk in the Kelvinverse became a captain for less than that?
Well, yeah, for less than that, yeah.
So I don't know, at least Commander Boimler right away or something like this. I mean, he saved the whole ship and so on. So. I
think the difference is that there's still a captain around. Like, I don't think Kirk would have become a captain of the Enterprise had Pike not had all that shit happen to him.
Oh boy. Captain Boimler, man. I like, it was 2 minutes, but I could just keep talking about it. Anyway, let's move over to Lieutenant Rutherford.
No can do, 10-2.
Out of everyone, perhaps the entire season, Rutherford kind of gets the unfortunate shaft this year, which kind of stinks, but it happened to Tendi last season. So, yeah. So he was really only used to go back on that old bit in the previous episode with Livik, right? They did the whole Mark Twain bit. It's disappointing, right? Because he also gets like the bit with Tendi at the end, but like, really, that's it. What did we think about kind of Rutherford's arc in this episode, and that's kind of it for this season, MC?
Funnily enough, my first comment isn't even going to be directly about Rutherford, but about that quote that you used. How crazy do you think that drove to Erica to be called Tendi 2?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Rutherford is, and I mean, I think except for last season, Rutherford's always gotten the short end of the stick. They've never really had like a clear idea what to do with him. And that really bums me out. And I think part of the issue with that is that so much of Rutherford's personality is based on being just the really nice guy. And even Tendi like has more quirks going on. So I think in terms of, especially in a humorous show, they have trouble finding ways to utilize him. And I hate that because I really like Rutherford. And like you said, the same thing happens in this one. I was not expecting Mark Twain to, out of all of the things to come back, was not expecting Mark Twain. And I loved it. And T'Lyn is the one who comes up with the idea. I mean, just like, again, like making this not about Rutherford, but like that's such a beautiful growth for her character that this just completely illogical thing is the absolute right thing to do, because logic is the beginning of wisdom and not the end. And bringing Livik back is also really great. I like
Livik.
I like Rutherford having an enemy because, so much of what we know of Rutherford is him being a really nice guy. So him being the one person who actually does have like an honest to goodness arch nemesis on the show on the ship, because like Mariner kind of had that thing with Jennifer, but that thing with Jennifer was always like, hiding her attraction to her. And I don't think Rutherford is attracted to Livik at all. Mm-hmm. I mean, you never know, but I mean, Livik is...
Livik is Livik.
Yeah. He's not really the type anybody really goes for. He's a little weasel boy.
Eric.
You know how much I love Rutherford. But he sort of did get the shaft this season. And there's something telling about that storyline earlier this season where he could have gotten promoted so many times and he just didn't. Like, that's sort of just what he is. He's just that person that's sort of there because he wants to be there with his friends, which is sort of it felt like his purpose this season.
Yeah.
But I feel like we really will see a little bit more of him next season when Tendy's gone. Like, he's going to have to figure out
I agree
how to move forward with that. Like, and he still has that sort of sort of weird relationship with Tendi based on the Ferengi episode, or at least weird feelings. I don't know how that's going to play out, but I look forward to seeing where he goes because he wasn't really used this season. The Mark Twain bit killed me. His role playing is amazing, and when he said goodbye to Tendi at the end was really heartbreaking. His okie dokie was so sad, and it broke my heart.
Yeah.
And the way his face fell, like when they're walking in, it's like, it's a Rutherford thing. And he's like, but he's just, you can see the devastation.
Heartbreaking. Real quick, Hawk, before you go, David Ellis pointed out that Rutherford was the only one who didn't get a team up episode with T'Lyn this season. So even though this was T'Lyn's idea, they didn't exactly team up for this bit. So interesting point. Go ahead.
Season premiere.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Rutherford kind of got the short end of the stick this year. I'm not even going to go with the little excuse about so many moving parts and that blah 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 blah. Hopefully he gets more. However, I can always count on Rutherford to have the funniest line in the episode when he's featured in that. Last week with the thing about the pockets in the pants, not even noticing.
We got pockets.
Did you know we had pockets? And in this one, my God, like everything that's going on, this Nick Locarno in the Navy, and he's illustrating the binary shield and that, everybody's shocked and worried and that, and all he's fixated on is doesn't he look like Tom Paris? You're not seeing this?
It's his exact face.
Yeah, it looks like they animated him exactly the same, just with a little.
They did
beard.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry he didn't get more story. I'm sorry he didn't get a team up with T'Lyn. That would have been a great episode.
I feel like without her science bestie next season, or they're gonna have to end up
Yeah.
being science besties.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's going to be some more team up. So, but I'm just glad he's there because, like, it's that beautiful, like, naivety of his, and that, and the humor that goes along with it. It just feels like such a necessary part of the show. Yeah. I just hope I hope they do more with the story, but at the same time, I would never say he's not a necessary part of this show because
Agreed. Yeah.
Tara wrote, psyched to see Gucci. Pissed it's called Gucci.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Giraffe.
Yeah, I've been complaining about Rutherford this whole season, to be honest. It feels like very empty character now that his arc is over, and like they don't know what to do with him, and he's just here to be like the one-liners and like kind of the silly good fun. Like it's a little bit like Jenkampog in Prodigy, where you have this character and you're like, I get that he's funny, but his backstory is super cool. Can we make him look more tri-dimensional? I feel like if we had an episode explaining that he's like deeply traumatized by what happened, and that he changed his implant to be always married, I will buy it. Like, give me some, explain to me why suddenly he's like so, I don't know, hiding himself, like not wanting to get promotion is like such a weird move. Like, he wants to be with his friends, but he's not 5. You know what I mean? It's too light. And in this episode, like all the one-liner make me crack up, like Tandy 2, and like it's Tom Perry's like, I laughed and I was like, but what is his reaction to having Mariner in this situation? What's his reaction to having Boimler in acting captain? Like, he doesn't vibe with, like, he's like the same guy through the thing, like he's going through a holodeck program,
Yeah.
And I want to know why. I'm sure they have a plan. I'm sure it's going to be explained. I hope so, because I don't want him to just be the married guy, Well, I'm not the married man, but yeah.
Yeah, and he, like, especially after what happened to him last season, you feel like you think that his personality would change a bit with his merging of himself, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I actually do worry a little bit if, like, next season's obviously going to be dealing with the fact that Tendi is not on the ship anymore, and that's going to be affecting him. I don't want everything about Rutherford to be based off of somebody else, because that's kind of, other than his implant plot, everything that's been going on with Rutherford is him in connection with somebody else. And I would very much like to explore him as a character.
For sure.
Yeah, I agree. Anything else on Rutherford before we move on? Good. Let's talk about T'Lyn. T'Lyn.
I believe the only response in this situation is Cerritos strong.
That's right. Listen, she joined the Core 4 this season. She's had her own arc. She's been a bit of background, and really this episode background, but it works. It's done very well the way that she's used. Plus she makes that big decision by the end of the episode, right? She gets the call that she's been wanting all season, just to not take and be like, I'm going to be your science bestie. I'm staying on the Cerritos. You guys are fun. Like, she doesn't say that you guys are fun because she's a Vulcan. She's never going to say that, but she's having the time of her life.
She said it in the Vulcan way.
Yeah, she said in the Vulcan way. Yeah, exactly. MC, thoughts on T'Lyn in this episode and through the season?
Like you said, like, she was not very, she was very much in the background in this episode, but she had to be, because Rutherford was basically in the background in this episode. You can't focus on everybody, and T'Lyn is, unfortunately, like, I know a lot of people have complained about episodes where T'Lyn hasn't been in it, but T'Lyn's not a member of the main cast. Like, we'd like that she is around, and certainly, like, she ended up being around more in this season than Jennifer was last season, even though they built her up to be a big character. So they did use her a lot, and with all of the stuff, I know I made the jerk off motion when Hawk mentioned so many moving parts, but there are so many moving parts in this, in a 30-minute episode with, dealing with everything with Mariner and Boimler, Freeman. T'Lyn is a character who basically just gets to, make a couple of lines. But different than Rutherford, the lines that T'Lyn has are incredibly important. I mean, they're funny, like her saying Cerrito's strong. That's funny because a Vulcan saying that is inherently funny. But it all serves to push her plot forward because she does do what would be for a Vulcan outside the box thinking with bringing the holodeck in. Her being the one to kind of support the Cerrito strong. This goes against the whole, Vulcan ethos of the needs of the many, to, put the whole crew at risk to go after Mariner. But she's willing to do that because Cerrito's strong. And then at the end, when she's, turning her back on her captain, because this is her home now. Like this is the first time that she's actually been accepted, because we saw her in Wayduge and everybody was a dick to her. Like, why the fuck would she want to go back to them? Like, yes, at first she did have the culture shock, but now that she's actually kind of, gotten used to it, it's like, yeah, why would I want to go back there where people didn't like me and didn't want me to express myself? So yes, she didn't have a big part. And I would argue that she has an even smaller part than Rutherford, but everything was so artfully used that I think the writers need to take, this example and apply it to other characters.
Great point. Yeah, 100%.
Agreed. And it's also like, I wonder if her not being fully integrated into the show is sort of her also trying to work her way into that group, right? The writers are still trying to figure her out. She's also trying to figure out herself in that setting, and the fact that she went to Cerrito Strong at the end and that she was the one who told them to do the holodeck thing, like she's starting to fully integrate, and the fact that she said no to her captain, like that's her. Like I fully expect that they wanted to slowly add her in, or at least that's how I feel, but who knows, especially based on Rutherford. I love her dynamic with everyone. I like that she has her own little thing with each of them, except for Rutherford. But yeah, I look forward to seeing her more. Like, I'm sure we will see her more next season.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Mike McMahon, I think, said she's in season 5. So that's a win for everybody,
Yeah.
I think.
I was just trying to think if Don Lewis had mentioned T'Lyn on the Ready Room, but
Oh, okay. Nice.
she might have. I think she said everybody's back. So
Yeah. Yeah. Huck.
Everybody's pretty much said everything on that. Like
I have more things to say.
Yeah, I know. You always
You're
have more
giraffe, of
things
course
to
you do.
say, and you always have some unique way of saying it. So. She is fully a part of this crew now. And that I love her little first contact moment. I was so sure she was going to say, "To hell with our orders, Ella Data."
I did too.
Right?
I really did. They were doing so many references already in this episode. I was like, oh, okay. All right.
Rito Strong.
Yeah.
I loved it. And I'm looking forward to her storylines next season. And yeah, she's here to stay in that. She was it's like in Wayduge, she was unhappy there. It's like, I don't know how Vulcans express unhappiness and that, but if there was a way they could do it, she was doing it. She was unhappy on that ship and resented for, having an instinct and, having the guts to want to act on it.
Meanwhile, they'd all be dead if it wasn't for her, right? And her shield modulation. So,
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think her saying Cerrito's strong is her version of saying "to hell with our orders," because
Yes.
I mean, her and Spock are also able to make "live long and prosper" sound like "fuck you." So
yeah, true. Yeah. Giraffe.
Yeah. So I don't think that she wasn't happy as a Vulcan because she's a Vulcan. That's her culture. That's her people. And that's how they organize. I think she was underappreciated, which is a different thing. Like, that's how they interact with each other. And it's like when you work with a bunch of idiots and you're like, I'm underused, I can do more, and you're not seeing it. And when you finally shine, they're still like, but we can still all be idiots. And you're like, yeah, but I don't want to spend my life doing that. Because when she left to the Cerritos, she hated it. But she's such an anthropologist. She studied them for a full season, took notes of everything, understood everything because she's curious. Vulcans are curious, and she's a scientist, and she applied that. Like we saw her do, she wanted to do it for the Orions. I can tell you, she has like files and files and files on everything on the Cerritos because that's how she processed things. I think what changed and made her be, I'm gonna adopt that way of doing. I'm gonna adopt Cerrito Strong and Bestie and start talking like these people. Is that she realized that they are the people she saved. And I think it gave her a whole different purpose.
Yeah.
When she realized that her shield modulation not only saved her crew that did not appreciate her and did not recognize how brilliant she was, she realized she saved all these people and she never told them. And I think that's what make her be, that's a sign. Like, I know she doesn't, most probably doesn't believe in science, but it's like, they are here thanks to me, the need of the many, and now I'm part of the many, and I'm gonna be accepting their culture and accepting their way of doing it and being part of the crew because they are here thanks to me. And I think that's really subtle, and I like that this character is all in subtlety and all in, like, you know, half words and between the lines, but she's definitely extremely smart. And now she wants to be part of a crew that actually respects her initiative and respects her opinion and respects what she has to bring to the table.
Gene King put it perfectly in the chat. Isn't it nice to be in a place to be accepted completely as who you are and seen? Mm-hmm. Very true. Mm-hmm. And I love that she stays, right? Like, I love that she stays because there's a Mike McMahon version of this. I'm guessing. I don't know, and I'm probably dead wrong. But I would assume that there's a Mike McMahon version of this that is equally hilarious, where she gets the call, she accepts, and she says, "Live long and prosper," and pieces out. And they're like, "What?" Because that would be a very lower decks and funny thing to do. That being said, like, I'm super happy she's stayed because she's become a fan favorite like so quickly, and she doesn't need to be in every scene to like to make herself known, like, to be seen, right? Like, the Cerrito Strong moment is so good. Everything she did last week was like really good, like just the way that she talks to Mariner, like, you know, not putting up with Mariner's bullshit. She's like, I could have handled that Cardassian. She's like, you know, oh, you know, you could have tried. I'm sure you would have tried, or something like that. Like, it's like, if I love her attitude. And well, I didn't talk about it. I didn't like the Mark Twain scene. I just didn't think it needed to be in this episode.
Same.
It took me out of it. Yeah, it didn't need to be in there.
Yeah.
I did love this line.
Illogical tactics can sometimes lead to logical solutions.
Giraffe, I think you just said all of this, but like, she's adapting to her surroundings, and I love that, right? Because she wouldn't have done something like that at the beginning of the season, but she's gotten comfortable with these people and sees them as a family, and I adore that. So,
and we don't know what Sokel wanted. Like, we don't know what he was calling.
No,
like,
we don't. That's true.
Like, to congratulate her on all this and so on, because he's not stupid. Her captain is not stupid. He knows that she's most probably better there. But I think the fact that she doesn't want to talk to him is also that she doesn't want to have the risk of learning that she's accepted or promoted to a Vulcan ship. She wants to stay there because that's where she feels free.
Yeah.
And like not having the pull, you know, of like going back to a culture she understands.
Yeah.
And I think no matter what he says, like, she kind of doesn't care. It's like, you've been ignoring me all of these months. So
if she didn't care, she would answer. I think she cares. That's why she's not answering. She doesn't want to hear what he has to say. Like, when I know that people are going to call me that may sway me or may like make me doubt myself, I'm not going to answer. If I don't give a fuck, I'll answer you.
Let's be honest. If anyone calls me, I'm not going to answer.
I mean, like,
oh man.
Text me. What is this? 1990?
I still call people all the time.
Exactly.
Screw you guys. Oh
God.
You're an old man. You're the youngest of us, but you're an old man.
I'm one of those, like, becoming their parents in the Progressive commercials. Let's talk about Carol briefly, right?
Yes.
And just like, she gets her Picard first contact moment, right? First with like the That a girl, she's like so proud of Mariner, right? And then she disobeys a direct order, right? And it's so cool to have her have that moment and have every single one of her crew members behind her, because I don't think season 1 Carol would have commanded that kind of loyalty. Let's talk about Carol in this episode, MC.
I really feel like as we've had our lower deckers promoted, we're having the Cerritos promoted to doing the things that the Enterprise does. And this is something that we saw in last season when we had, your legend in the California class. After everything that happened with this, do you think they're just going to be a legend in the California class? No. A lot of the fleet is going to know who they are. And they're going to know who Carol Freeman is, because she's the one who went against orders to go up against this, fucking Nova fleet. Stupid ass name. And yeah, no, Carol wouldn't have done this in the first season because she was... I always think that Carol, like, deep down was very Mariner-like in the questioning orders, like in her head, but on the outside she was very much I've got to do things this way because this is how I'm going to rise up in the ranks. Because in season 1 she wanted to move to a different ship. She was embarrassed by the Cerritos, and it's only been over the last few seasons that she's become proud of the ship, and she wants to be there, and she doesn't want to move somewhere else because this is where she's thriving. This is her home. And by finally getting that confidence to be like the truest version of herself as a captain, she's not living up to anybody's expectations, and that's making her a hero because she's actually working off her instincts rather than what she thinks she should do.
Yeah. Yep. Eric?
Yeah, what MC said.
Yeah.
Right. No, like everything, like her evolution from first season to now is amazing. And the fact that when she was on the captain's yacht and you could see the people that came with her, that those people would ride and die with her. Those are her ride and dies. And that's amazing, because who knows, like, how would they have followed her in season 1 to do that?
No, that's what I'm saying. No, I don't think so. No.
And obviously she wouldn't have taken the yacht and tried to go through a small hole. Like it's amazing. Her relationship with her daughter as well is just so awesome, and so it has healed so much from that first season. And I love seeing them together. Like it's amazing. It's so nice to see that family dynamic on the show, because so often you see like bad parenting, and it's just amazing. I got nothing to add. Mostly what MC said.
That's fair. Hawk.
The biggest thing with Carol this season is like her sense of adaptation. Much like T'Lyn and that, being on the Enterprise and that she's able to adapt, and that Carol, from last episode and that with the subterfuge and that, how she gets the information she wants without, by playing the helpless idiot, and in this, the Orions think they've got one over on her, and that giving her a junker of a battle cruiser that isn't even operational. And that, and what does she do? She adapts. She just if the engines don't work, fine, we'll get it in tow and that, and just throw it right at the shield.
Like the Free Navy throwing asteroids.
Oh my God! Yes.
I was saying, like Starfleet, we have like throwing stuff at stuff.
That's the era of Starfleet we're in right now.
Can we stop throwing stuff at stuff? Like,
never.
I liked it.
Done.
I liked it.
Yeah. So I'm glad like her character is evolving along with the rest of them too, and her relationship with Mariner is so much better on that, and and she, even though she was still genuinely worried about Mariner in the last episode, it's like she actively trying to get herself killed. But no, I don't really have much more to add.
Cool.
Go Carol.
I like it.
I'm very happy that they rectified the the road of Carol, the arc of Carol, because watching back the first season, for example, I was really disappointed with having, such an angry woman all the time and failing at her job also, making decision out of emotion, not being a great captain, not being a great person either. I was thoroughly disappointed when she froze Mariner to Starbase 80, and I was like, I didn't really understand why we had such a failing captain. And I'm so glad that in this season we have a great captain, like an amazing captain, and a captain that you understand why people would follow her, and like showing that she has training, that she's smart, that she's here for a reason. And I really don't really know what happened between all the season, except maybe they were like, hey, let's not have an angry black woman, which I don't know who said that, but good job, you. And I'm so glad that we're having yet another like incredible like Starfleet captain that I want her Funko. I was telling you, I want Carol Freeman Funko. Yeah. I want one more like captain, So I'm super glad to see her this fifth season, like being a great Star Trek captain. And I'm a bit sad it took 4 seasons, but you know what? Are we used to this? Maybe. I love seeing Michael Burnham, but it's great. I'm gonna have to go though, so I don't know. I'm just saying that I don't know how you do with the thing, but
Eric's got it. Hey, Giraffe. Thank you. Have so much fun in Old Town.
Bye,
have a margarita
I love
for me.
That was a great season. More great. Yes.
Yes.
Lower decks.
Lower decks.
Bye.
Have fun.
Bye, Giraffe. Have fun. To keep going, I love what Gene King said too, right? But also Papa Freeman was also about to just throw down to go get their kid back too. Yeah. If he had happened to been in the system, like he would have gone with Carol.
I would like to see him more.
I would like to see
I
that
really
dynamic.
would too. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what else to say. Like Giraffe, twice I said exactly what I wanted to say. I loved her evolution, right? Like I was really getting tired of making bad decisions, Carol, and I love this new Carol who commands the respect of her crew and earns it back tenfold. And I don't really know what else to say. I'm pulling a hawk. Yes. Sorry, buddy. Had to get that in there. Let's move on to Tendi. By the way, Eric, I have to give you a quick shout out. The intro was beautiful at the top of the show, and before the overlay changed again, I love that you put everybody's favorite character next to them. That was a nice touch.
I just guessed that, so there you go.
You guessed correctly. Speaking of, let's move on to our final character of the night, and that is, of course, our very own Devana Tendi.
You've got this.
Oh, so season 4 of Lower Decks arguably could be called Tendi's season, right? She's had a lot this season, and I think that's been great. Partly probably why I think it's the best season of the show so far. So she had a lot to do in this episode, and it could be argued that the crew, even standing any kind of chance of rescuing Mariner, had to go through Tendi and her bartering with Erica, right? Like without that plan, they don't have Starfleet's help or blessing, not a lot of other people to go to. So she gets the crew their ship, but not before promising to come back to Orion if Erica does help them. And she does help them, if not in a very Orion way. And that's not being xenophobic in any way, because Erica even says it. She's like, messed up, but very Orion. She said it. Not me. So that promise is kept and does go through come episode's end. Tendi leaves the Cerritos, has that very sad moment with Rutherford, tears. Thoughts on the conclusion of a shocking conclusion to Tendi's arc this season, MC?
I think Tendi's arc is exactly where she was supposed to go, because we had that big episode of her on Orion, one of Now, actually, you know what? I'm just going to say it, the best episode of the season. And while I think she and Derica did, kind of reach an accord in that episode, I don't think things were finished because she was still the mistress of the winter constellations, as we found out in the last episode. That's not something that, I think can be taken away.
No, it doesn't go away. No.
So she's always going to be that. And I think we really need to see that. I think we need to see her as that rather than just like the little hint of it that we saw in Something Green.
Something borrowed, something green. Yep.
Yeah, something borrowed, something green. I really think that Tendy's plot as a science officer, she's so competent that it's really hard to do anything with her in that role, which is the problem they had last season, that they can't just show Tendy like succeeding at everything. So they didn't show her doing anything. They just kind of focus on, Tendy's rocking out in the background. And this season, it's, more of a personal thing because this way you're able to keep her in the lieutenant role. And now we're to the point of, okay, I'm not going to be in Starfleet anymore, which is something that, I think she's always struggled with, her Starfleet identity versus her Orion one. And I really look forward to like that final moment, like having Tendy be the final moments of the season, you got this. And just her knowledge of just knowing that one guard like has bad allergies and putting Miggly Moo in,
it almost worked.
It almost worked. It would have been genius otherwise, though I would have liked to see her fight with Shax. Like, that would have been pretty damn epic. Yeah, she's smart. Like, she thinks outside of the box. We love, and barter by combat. Is there anything more Orion than barter by combat? See, for Ferengis, it would be combat by barter.
Yeah.
It would. Yeah.
Me. Yes, I agree with MC that this is exactly where she needed to go. Like, we've been getting little sprinklings of her little backstory, like her starting off as the cleaner, and we're like, holy shit, how does she know all this stuff? And then we see her be a little Orion princess and Hear All Trust Nothing when she, meets that other Orion who's boasting but only knows from the Hollow novels. And then she,
the ones with the boobs on the cover.
Yeah. And then she throws the key and, she does that badass sequence all the way to the engine room. And then we get this season where we see her fully sort of not embrace it, but she gets thrust into that Orion spotlight. And, something that she's been shying away for such a long time. And she's been trying to prove to Starfleet that they're not all just, pirates still, even though she gets put back in that life. And I cannot wait to see her fully be the mistress of the winter constellations. I know I can't take that title away from her, but God, that's just, I can't wait to see her fully embrace that. And maybe, by her going over there, I couldn't see them opening up any other negotiations without her being there and being part of that. It feels like the Cerritos mission next season is going to be them trying to negotiate with the Orions and having them come into the Federation. And who better to do that than the people that she served with, right? It's such a good, little chess piece moving over here and over here to get to this point. And I cannot wait to see her. Who knows? Is she going to be more on the Orion side or the Starfleet side? Maybe she'll play both sides. I fully expect her to play Derica next season to get them to, to join forces. I think no matter what happens, if we see Tendi as the mistress of the winter constellations, we're all going to be scare-roused for however many episodes it happens. 100%.
Yeah. Hawk.
First up, I'd like to read Jordan Fink's comment. I think she is about to pull a ROM and change Orion culture. which could
Yeah.
very well happen, I think, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, for as characters like this season are kind of dealing with their histories and backstories and trying to come out the other side better people, and that it's probably a good thing Tendi is going back to the Orions, and that just for the fact that like her history and her family and everything people the Starfleet thinks about Orion seems to cause her a lot of stress. It's like that whole episode, like something green, and that you could see the stress behind it, and that every time she was just like trying to act within Orion culture, and that whether it's like drunk bug.
I think the stress was only there because her friends was there. I still strongly believe that she's embarrassed about it because she enjoys it. Like she is Starfleet and she has all those ideals, but she also loves being Mistress of the Winter Constellations.
Yeah, the lady doth protest too much.
Maybe. I mean, like she's. I don't know if it's that she loves it. It's just that she's really good at it. It's like people can be really good at things without really liking what they do. You might be really great in an office situation. You might be a great accountant, but maybe you don't. Maybe you always wanted to do something else. I don't know. Like for her going off and having to put on that game face and that at the end, evil smile, like eyes a bit screwed up too. I feel like it's something that she has to confront in order to move forward, to be a better person, better Starfleet officer, and that I think it's something that she's going to have to confront and come to terms with on her own, and possibly like change, like Rom did for the Ferengi culture, and that it's like bringing her values into her culture, right?
Yeah. I'm just going to talk about, we're going to talk about our quick theories later, but I'm just going to talk about this one now because it's very relevant to what's going on. I'm just going to talk about Tendi real quick in the sense of her being the Mistress of the Winter Constellations, right? She says at the end, T'Lyn brings up a great point. Like you can just be an Orion and refuse, which would be very piratey of you. And I think Tendi could do that. And Erica probably would respect that too. But one, this is going to go into my theory too later, but my theory aside, Tendi just saying this is something I need to do for myself. She grew up being groomed to be Mistress of the Winter Constellations, and yes, I really do believe that there are aspects of it that she enjoyed, but she also during all of that had that dream of wanting to be Starfleet. That's what she really wanted to do. So this is a stupid example, and I'm only bringing it up because it's the only one that I could think of right now. I don't mean to put religion into it, but it's just the only thing I could think of right now. It's like me being a Jew, right? I grew up with Judaism being shoved down my throat by my grandmother. I didn't want anything to do with it, right? Like I didn't want to go to Sunday school. Like it wasn't like what I wanted to do. And for a very long time, I shunned it away. And it only became relevant to me when I was adult, and I was like, oh no, I do like these traditions, and it is something I need to experience for myself and make the decision for myself. This is Tendi going back home on her own terms, right? She's the one who made the deal. She could have thought of something else to trick to Erica with. She didn't. She said, I will come back and be the Mistress of the Winter Constellations, right? I think she wants to go home and live that life for a little bit on her own terms, right? And I think that's what she's going to do. That being said, I think that's part of it. I also think that this is 100% a covert ops mission by Starfleet. Especially if you take the Admiral being like, we still have the subject of your other lieutenant. No chance in hell that Erica would ever contact Starfleet to make good on the deal, right? Because she says, I can't have any dealings with Starfleet. So that's out the window, right? And then the way that she says, you've got this, and changes her attitude, I think that the way that Starfleet said, we're trying to make nice with the Orions and something borrowed, something green, and the way that that episode went down with Erica being put in power instead of Tendi, right? And getting married and kind of like uniting these two syndicates. I think Tendi is being sent there to infiltrate and see if there's any possible way, like you guys were saying, that they could either join the Federation or there's something else going on on Orion. But I don't think this is as cut and dry as let's make a deal, right? Like there's something else going on here, and I think it has a lot to do with Starfleet once again.
So
And
one thing I would like.
everybody, sorry, real quick, MC.
It's okay.
I think everybody's like, oh man, it sucks. Tendy's leaving the Cerritos. Like, I don't like it. I don't like it. I'm like, no, like this is what you have to chew
There's a
on,
reason.
right? Like this is great storytelling. This is great writing. This is a great way to end the season. Sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. I just wanted to bring up just like getting into the nitpicky, nerdy thing because I'm fucking me and I have to do this. If we're getting into the idea of Tendi possibly trying to change Orion culture, maybe bringing him into the Federation, do we hope that is what's going to happen? And if that is the case, like how does that impact what we see of Orions in Discovery? I mean, granted, that's like hundreds of years into the future and like the burn has happened. So do you think that we can have Orion come into the Federation at this time and then have things?
I do, only because
Ooh, interesting.
in the future when they do build the Emerald Chain, they do it with Andorians, and Andorians are in the Federation, right? So the burn really fucks some shit up. So who knows?
Changes the balance of power
Yeah.
a lot.
Oh, yeah,
Exactly.
everything and that. And it's like people who are in such a desperate like situation as like everyone must have been during the burn, and that like travel was just cut off. So what happens is that for survival, they really kind of result to go back to old ways, don't they?
Well, and of course the Orions become a major power because of course the Orions are going to have a stockpile of dilithium. Yeah, no, that's a great point. I don't think that they would join the Federation, and I don't think that over those 900 years they ever did.
But they could have a peaceful relationship like the Klingons.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
yeah.
100%. Yeah, because the Klingons have never joined the Federation. Yeah. Yep.
By the time of Discovery, haven't they?
I don't know.
Have we seen
was
them
their
enough?
flag? Was their flag on there? We haven't even seen the Klingons in the future yet.
I want to believe.
I want to believe. Tendi will be and forever is my favorite character. I think Riker and Tendi are my favorite Star Trek characters. Like this ending and having her be so prominent in this episode just made my day. There she is.
It helped that Chris Westlake made the most epic score at the end there. Like, as soon as I saw it, I sent you guys all the message being like, holy fuck, where did that come from? Like, he does amazing work, but that was like movie level amazing. Like,
It was.
Like,
It
oh,
was.
like,
Let's talk about that, right?
God.
Because that's our final bullet point tonight, right? The Wrath of Locarno. Yeah, I mean, this whole episode was Wrath of Khan. That was the stylistic choice from Chris Westlake's score, like you just said, Eric, to the Nebula, to the literally shot for shot of the Enterprise flying over the Reliant in the Nebula, to Locarno taking out a nacelle like the Enterprise does to the Reliant. Thoughts on this choice, Eric? You were just talking about it, so I'm going to switch up the order. Go ahead, keep going.
oh my God, it's so good. And like, this was the one, like, I have the Lower Decks vinyl coming, obviously, because but I would love just this episode to listen to forever and ever, because it's quickly just shot up there. It's so well done. It hits all the right emotional points in this episode. It does everything that a score should do in sci-fi music. It really hits all the emotional points. It emphasizes, it makes things feel more epic, and this episode felt like a movie.
Yeah, it really
And it was
did.
it was 20 something minutes. Like that's amazing to do just with music.
I checked the time. It was a full.
This is actually a full half hour for once. Yeah.
I don't watch it on TV, so I don't know. I really do hope that the planet Locarno gets a baby Locarno soon. Like, if they're gonna just keep going, I would love to see a little one show up, baby Tom
that'd be
Paris.
hilarious.
Like,
oh my God.
I cannot. Star Trek has done such a good job grabbing these up and coming composers, for all their newer series. It's just an amazing feat that they've done. They've cemented themselves in their own I don't want to say history. What's the thing? They cemented their own legacy in Star Trek music, and that's such a big thing. Jerry Goldsmith is there, and how it blows my mind that it's at that level, like Jerry Goldsmith level.
Yeah,
Like-
it really was. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. MC?
Yeah, I mean, like, oh, the Wrath of Khan-ness of this all. It was just so. It was like the best version of Wrath of Khan that they've done since Wrath of Khan, because Star Trek has always been trying to recapture Wrath of Khan, but this one did it so effortlessly because I don't think that they were trying too hard, and the stuff that did happen with it, it really worked. Like with the Genesis device. I mean, like that's of course, directly from Wrath of Khan. And yeah, I mean, the planet Locarno. Like I did really think about, does this mean that he's gonna come back? I think that's only going to happen if they can think of something actually interesting to have happen with Locarno. And the thing is, I don't know if there is at this point, because I feel like they've burned all of the interesting stuff in this episode.
I don't want to see him brought back.
It would be a cute
Yeah.
little
I think
Easter
it'd be
egg.
interesting. Yeah, right. Like it could have even been a little post-credit scene, right? Like a tube opens and there's like baby Locarno. But I think that's.
Do you think we're gonna go back there, considering they're like we're gonna relocate?
They left it
people
open,
here,
right?
Yeah, they did leave it open.
They
So
made a point of leaving it open too.
They made a point to say refugees. Are we going to get the Romulan refugee crisis?
Is it too early?
No, not. We're getting there. It's coming up pretty quick. Yeah, it's post Nemesis, so
yeah. Well, it depends because they keep on changing their minds as to how many years have actually passed. It's been several seasons in our time, but I think it's only been like 1 year.
A year and a half or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
right,
Yeah,
right.
it's kind of ridiculous. But yeah, no, I mean, I like how this ended up. I love this. I'm passing now. Because
That's fine. That's good. By the way, I like your shirt, MC.
Thank you. Heroes and villains.
Here's Villains, 20% off. Use our code STRANGE to get 20% off your first order. That's right. MC got that at NYCC at their awesome X-Men booth. Hawk.
This is totally Wrath of Khan, but it is filtered through the lower decks like lens and that to grab a character from like a past episode and that, it's like, and bring them forward for this, I mean, the thing with like Khan, it was that Nemesis kind of feel with, Kirk and that, it's like when Kirk heard Khan's name and that, like you could see that visible chill go down the spine. But this, it's like, Nick, I barely knew you. And like most people don't even know who Nick was, which is hilarious to make him the Khan of this.
It's like when John Hairston revealed himself as Khan, and everyone was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. Yeah. It just fell on. It was so flat. Fuck Into Darkness.
Harsh.
But this was hilarious, and it's funny that you mentioned about like a little Locarno and that maybe springing out of this like planet, because I thought like what a great turnaround this would be, that like him being reborn on this new planet, a la Genesis and everything, would kind of technically make him the actual Khan to Mariner, and that going forward in any storyline, right? It's like if he wasn't like they weren't enemies before, but they certainly are now.
Ooh,
He does try to kill her, right?
Yeah.
What if the little Locarno, grows up? And the thing is, Spock had like memory problems.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then what if he like goes through some sort of wormhole, like temporal wormhole, goes back in time and gets adopted by Admiral Paris?
God.
I want to know what the hell is going on.
That'd be amazing. Oh my god.
These are babies.
And it's all within the realm of possibility in that.
Oh my God, guys.
Is there anything out of the realm of possibility in Star Trek?
No, there really isn't in that. And kudos to Mike McMahon in that. It's like we mentioned before in that, like he's had this planned out for a long, long time. 12-dimensional chess. As to quote the Romulan from this episode.
Yes. Yeah. I'm just gonna gush on Chris Westlake's score. It was gorgeous. It was beautiful. It was a love letter to James Horner. Everybody involved in the visual effects team.
Oh my God,
the
yes.
artists, every single one of you just made this episode beautiful and paid a beautiful homage to that movie. So hats off, beautiful, well done. Not much else to say. I loved, like you were saying, Eric, the very cinematic end credits, right, where it just stays at the warp field, and then that music. I adored that. I thought that was a great stylistic choice. Your final thoughts on the finale, Hawk. We're gonna go in reverse order.
Oh, it was great. Big shout out to Mae Darman, the writer, and to Bob Suarez, the director, in that, because like it felt like there wasn't a single piece of fat on this cut, right? Everything just like what was economical. It moved along at this lightning speed, and it all felt so necessary. It's like Eric said, it felt like a mini movie in that, and they did it in a half an hour. It's like making Lower Decks Wrath of Khan. This was probably my favorite finale of Lower Decks ever.
Nice. Eric?
Agreed. My favorite Lower Decks finale. Everyone had such a satisfying story. It was so, no, except for Rutherford. But like even the little of Rutherford that we got, I still enjoyed him there. Like I have nothing to complain about other than Ma'a not being in this episode. Like the Lower Decks crews not being in this is the only thing that bothered me. And it really bothered me a lot, actually, to be honest. But not enough for this not to be the best like this. We'll talk about it in a couple seconds, actually.
Nice. MC?
I have said it in every single review this season. Every episode has been a banger, and this is absolutely no exception. This episode was fantastic. The best finale to the best season of this show. And season 5, I can't wait for that to happen. And I can't wait for all of the other seasons that I absolutely demand come, because season 1 is one of the best seasons of Star Trek, but it's just gotten better since then. I mean, okay, last season might have had a little bit of faltering, but this one was they're hitting on all cylinders, and I just want to see it keep going. It seems to me like, despite like how big like the whole Nova Fleet thing was, this season was very intimate and dealing with the characters growing up, evolving, and I really like that. I like this focus on characters rather than the wacky plots. And yes, more. Give me more right now.
If it took 4 seasons to go a year and a half in their time, and 7 years is generally what we get in Starfleet. In Star Trek shows, do we get 28 seasons? I hope.
I like the way 100%. You think.
Oh, yes, sir.
I just absolutely adored this episode, and it has to be said, this is a 2-part finale, right? So this 2-part finale was the best finale of Lower Decks so far. I think on its own that maybe isn't the case, but these 2 episodes together is a really just like beautiful symphony that Mike McMahon has put together. One thing I really want to say that I'm happy about that I didn't say last week because I didn't want to put it out into the ether. I am so happy they kept Cedo dead, because I had a worry going in this episode that they were going to go on a Nick ship and all of a sudden Cedo was going to come out of a turbo lift, and I was going to be like, oh no, they didn't give us the cheap pop. Thank you. Bold decision too. I love that we just get a brief cameo of her at Starfleet Academy. It's a nice, we get to see Cedo again, even if we know she still made the ultimate sacrifice. This is a fantastic finale. I cannot wait for season 5. Like, cannot wait.
And I also want to give a quick shout out to Robert Duncan McNeil, who did such a fantastic job, because I mean, he had 7 seasons to forget how to play Locarno by playing Tom Paris, and he like stepped right back into it.
They're not the same person? What?
Look, like the same person.
They're identical. They have the same face. We're just going to keep quoting that line. Oh, man. Let's do our overall season final thoughts. I know we all said it, but I'll do it anyway. Back to our normal order, MC.
I just said it. This season is the best season they've had. I adore, like, even the episodes I didn't like, or the episodes that I liked the least, I still liked. and I will watch every single episode this season. So, chef's kiss, perfect. I will be watching this season over and over again.
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah.
Eric?
Best season, agreed. I've watched this season multiple times already. Like, it's crazy how rewatchable this season is. And I don't even think I disliked or even sort of didn't like some of the episodes. I liked all of them. I know I haven't been here this season, but yeah, I loved them all. I think it's such a good season. I cannot wait till next season. My God.
Yeah. Hawk?
Same. Like every episode's been a banger, and it's just been doing what Lower Decks does best. Is like it taking lovingly taking canonical Star Trek and just turning it on its ear. And that it's like going back to the premiere of Tuvix, and that taking one of the most controversial and
We don't say that name in this house. No, I'm kidding.
oft-hated episodes of Star Trek, and just like turning it on its ear and making it just hilarious.
Yeah.
And this finale was no different. The entire season's been great. I can't wait for season 5.
Yeah. Tara hit it on the head in the chat. Lower Deck should be on the air as long as there's Star Trek to play with.
That's right.
So
Listen,
forever.
This show could go forever. It could be a Family Guy. It could be an American Dad. Like, it has the potential to have that longevity.
That's so funny. I've restarted re-binging like King of the Hill actually recently.
Oh, nice. I love King of the Hill.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna get sappy for a moment. Like, this show is all about like your found family and your friends that you made along the way, and this core 4, right? And we are a core 5. Like, we have our strange new pod family, and I think I would say this even if this didn't happen, but getting to watch the first 8 episodes of the season with MC and Eric like in Toronto and experience it like in person together makes this season special, like already, right? Because that's the first time that we ever got to watch any Star Trek together in the same room with just more than, well, no, I guess that's not true. A lot of episodes, not just one episode.
Yeah, we got to watch many episodes. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Like, it was just a great experience. That being said, no matter what, this has been the best season of Lower Decks, and it's not even close. Like, not even close. There is not a single episode that I could go on and be like, I don't really want to watch that again. Like, if I point to it, I'm going to watch it and I'm going to laugh and I'm going to enjoy myself. And that's what makes Lower Decks so amazing. I'll repeat myself. I and all of you, I can't wait for season 5. So
I know. I remember sometime this season, I said at one point, this might be my least favorite episode of the season. For the life of me, I can't remember which one it was.
Yeah. Any very quick, and one per person, because we're getting at that point. Any season 5 theories that you would like to share? No order. Spit it out if you got it.
I think we'll see Ma'a, but not as much as we hope.
Okay.
Gabriel Ruiz, main cast.
100%.
Ooh, like that.
Yeah.
Nice.
I picture a wedding episode coming up at some point. I don't know why.
Okay. All right.
Not that necessarily the 2 characters are going to get married, but I think there's going to be some sort of a wedding episode.
Musical.
Yes.
Gabriel Ruiz is an amazing singer. If you've never heard her sing,
Yep. This is my second and last big theory of the night, and I think I have evidence to back it up. I think we're getting a big time jump in season 5.
Oh,
with T'Lyn, with Tendi leaving for Orion, seeing Brad Boimler in the captain's chair, those 2 things on their own, right? The admiral saying we're going to put refugees on this planet. I'm not saying like 10, 15 years, but maybe like 2 to 5 year time jump. I think a lot of time is going to pass between seasons 5 and season 4 and season. I'm already looking ahead to season 6, guys, because it's gonna happen. Let's get it going.
Season 28.
and a movie.
Yeah, big time jump. dare I say Easter egg hunt, because this episode was just a love letter
That's
to
the whole
Wrath
thing.
Hunt. Do we need to do
The
one?
whole thing.
If you have any, yeah, go ahead, Hawk.
I did have one. I don't know if it's ever come up before or not, but in Carol's office, or the sword she has on the desk, or behind her on the shelf, and that's Duros's sword.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I looked at the hilt, and I was like, that is Duros's sword.
The establishing shot of Starfleet Academy is directly from the live action, and you can also see Boothby in it.
Yeah,
Yes, I saw
Boothby.
Boothby.
Yep. I'm not gonna try. Like that was just it was great. Let's get to the subspace to pull and mailbag.
Hailing frequencies open.
Who wants to pull? Oh yeah, Eric, hit it. Go ahead.
We asked Trek Twitter what they thought about the Lower Deck season 4 finale, and this is what they had to say. 37.7% said, "I do declare."
Thank you, sir.
44.2 said, "Cerritos strong." 9.1% said, "Nick Lacar, who?" And 9.1% said, "Fucking Romulans."
So I will say that I kind of rigged this poll to be like positive, because I do declare and Pseudo Strong, I think, and honestly just both mean great.
Yeah.
And I think Nick Lacar, who could be like, it was okay, and fucking Romulans could be used in any way. That could mean great, like fucking Romulans or fucking Romulans. Like it is, yeah. So I don't know. I'm guessing some people just use that as
You and your confusing polls.
that's why they're good. No, I'm kidding. They're awful. No one complains though. Do you? I don't know. I don't know.
I'm just like making fun of stuff that you do.
I know you are.
Bust your chops.
Yes. Eric, you did the poll. That means Hawk, can you take Matt Harker's mailbag, please?
Love to. Also, Matt Harker, on personal, loved your costume for Halloween.
It was so good.
Matt Harker wrote the Maquis would like a word about how amazing this finale was. From the surprise appearance of Wes Crusher to the Culver Starburst Nebula, Locarno went out like he came in, even though acting Captain Boymes couldn't see his resemblance to Tom Paris. By twain, my inner child squeed, and my down was fluffed with the Calvin and Hobbes transmogrification reference. An absolute tour de force that left me with one conclusion. Mistress of the Winter Constellations got this.
Hell yeah, she does.
Damn right.
I will take Chris's previously on the mailbag. Star Wars stuff, TNG stuff, and Mariner, and more for the conclusion. What a doozy, and a 2-part season finale. Characters making unexpected moves. Cappy Boim and his face blindness was so fun, and it's so amazing that Twain works again. Yeah.
I do declare.
We got a Tendi being wrong moment, but not letting it derail anything. First Officer GD, that's right. Okay, we did not talk about Mariner having like a little bit of a relationship with the Genesis device. I loved it. Really saved the day, but sadly for Nick Paris, it was the end, since he doesn't carry any change in his pockets. I honestly plan to watch both of these back to back at least 3 times over the weekend. Truly one of the strongest season finales in Trek. Full stop.
When Mariner puts the seatbelt on and like pats it, I was like, "Oh my god, you're amazing."
Yeah, I know, right?
No exploding, okay? MC, can you take NYRL lights, please?
Okay, before I read this, I forgot to do this at the beginning of the show. I need to give a shout out to Amanda Wong, who is a fantastic artist and was doing Trektober, where she was drawing characters all month.
Oh, shit.
And on the 30th, she did fans, and she included Giraffe and I in the picture. And I absolutely cried when I saw it. And she is amazing. And go follow her over on Twitter.
She is amazing. Please do give her a follow. Yeah.
So
yes,
NY Rowlight wrote, "I never want to see Mark Twain again."
I don't disagree with him. It's fun to do I do declare, but also like I'm done. It was fun.
But I loved the rest of the episode. Since they're going full Genesis device, I loved the Space Nebula fight scene and the accompanying Wrath of Khan music. I can't wait to see how they write Tendi back in season 5.
Yeah. Indeed. Eric, you take Ernesto's, please.
Ernesto wrote, "Yowza! What an incredible finale. The opening scene featuring the original cast, the first duty, of course. And Mike McMahon kept Will secret till the finale. And fangirling Mariner is exactly what we would all expect her to be. Admirals are dicks. The Tom Paris
That
joke.
guy has also, real quick to interrupt, that Admiral has been a thorn in Carol's side this season more than once. So something to look out for in season 5.
The Tom Paris joke, fantastic and perfectly placed. Once again, Mistress of the Winter Constellation to the rescue. Both Mariner and Locarno were ingenious at manipulating the numbskulls of Nova Fleet. Love they revived the Luvick-Rutherford feud, and the solution was brilliant. Acting Captain Bradward Boimler, and check the score. Which movie was that? The Captain's Yacht, excellent. The Walk references. Oh, Wrath of Khan. Walk. The Wrath
It's
of
Walk.
Khan. The Wrath of
Walk.
The Wrath of
Boy,
Khan.
it's boy.
The Wrath of Khan references worked. And finally, Tillin flipping off the Vulcans for the Cerritos. Is anyone else scared for Derica? We saw that look in Tendy's eyes. I give this episode 9.847 Genesis planets.
You know, that was like a I'm about to go murder my sister kind of look. That could also, like, listen, you never know. Yeah. Hawk, can you take Tara's mailbag, please?
Absolutely. Tara wrote, I do declare a truly fun episode. Loved all the movie references with Genesis device, music, visual effects, and the dialogue between Boimler and Rutherford regarding Tom Paris. Fucking Romulans. Wanted to vote for it, but did not, so I'm getting it out now. And now, the final limerick for Lower Decks for a while. Sad face. 410 Old Friends, New Planets. Our antagonist Nova Squadron is insured by a Ferengi Genesis device. Mariner steals GD, narrowly escaping Nick's Fool's Paradise. The Cerritos can't disable the Trinar shield. Tendi barters. An Orion warship enters the battlefield. Locarno can't deactivate. He doesn't have the asking price.
Nice. Well done, Tara. And thank you for your limericks all season long. They have
We
been
always
excellent.
love the limericks.
Yes, indeed. I'll take CBFs, who wrote season 4 has been one of the best seasons of Lower Decks. Every episode was good, if not great, and this finale was no exception. All the payoffs set up earlier in the season were wonderful to see, from Nova Squad to the Orions. Lower Decks might be my favorite Trek of 2023, and the Lower Deckers really feel like our family. I cannot wait to see what they get up to in season 5, and I'm so happy that we'll have Tallinn with us on the next voyage. I would rate this episode 10 out of 10 paywalled bombs. Nice. And MC, can you please take us home with Wainers?
Wayner wrote, a great season finale and without a cliffhanger. And then a little tiny cliffhanger. It tied up the season perfectly. I loved the Wesley flashback cameo. Way too many Easter eggs to count. And now we have a planet Locarno.
Indeed we do. Indeed we do. And with that, some very brief news before we say goodnight. Happy hour. Someone tried to say it was this week. No, it is the second Thursday of each month. That'll be next week, which we will say right now, we will be off. We have earned a nice little 1 week break to catch our breath after 10 weeks straight of Lower Decks. But we're just going to keep having stupid Lower Decks fun, because for all of you who've been with us since the very beginning, there is one Star Trek movie that we have not deep dived or reviewed yet. And that movie is, that's right, we're going to the final frontier, ladies and gentlemen, Star Trek 5. The shenanigans keep rolling. A week from next, our review and deep dive of Star Trek 5. I apologize in advance. I don't.
I'll find something to do.
You know you want to be here. You told me you have a rant.
That's true. I always do.
You always do. You always do. So that's it. Does anybody else have any news before we go? I think that's about it. Yeah. Cool. Listen, to everybody, the YouTube collective, thank you so much for joining us for these past 10 weeks. The chat every single night has been hopping. We can't do the show without you. You're always such a major part of it. So thank you. That is going to be it for this one. We will see you in 2 weeks' time. So for MC, for Hawk, for Eric, and for Giraffe, I will say live long and prosper. Sarcastic Vulcan salute. Majram. Good night.
Thanks for beaming into our podcast today. If you want to keep the hailing frequencies open, you can subscribe on Apple and Google Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. Like what you hear? Put in a good word with Starfleet and leave us a 5-star review.